Sup, squad? I'm Leon, the Paperback Maniac. Happy October. The season is finally upon us. I am coming at you today with Mailbox Horrors Part 8. Now, this is the segment in which I catalog the many titles that keep creeping up in my mailbox. So without further ado, let's get started. The first book we're taking a look at today is The Game by Lynn Phillips. This book was put out by Tor Occult. Now, you know it's old when they included the genre on the imprint label. And this book came out in 1982. And it's got that lovely early 80s artwork that I really get into. So that looks like a lot of fun. Okay, next we've got The Rosedale Horror by John Ruddy. This book was put out by Paperback in 1980. And that's similarly awesome early 80s artwork there. Okay, then we've got Mine by Robert McCammon. Another doorstopper of a book. This guy just didn't know how to write a short novel. I have quite a few of his books. Haven't read a single one. Quite ashamed about that. But I really want to get into Mr. McCammon. I think I'll probably start with Stinger first. That one seems like a lot of fun. I mean, a lot of them. They Thirst looks great too. This one was put out by Pocket. The Pocket edition came out in 1991, though it looks like it was first put out in 1990. Okay, then we've got a great cheesy cover here. This is The Gifted by Jack Caravella, put out by the fine folks over at Zebra back in 1991. And it looks to be another ultra cheesy Zebra offering, which they're hit or miss, more often miss in my opinion, but usually they have enough to recommend them to be read. They can be entertaining reads. So yeah, we'll see what that one's all about. Okay, next we've got Ramsey Campbell's Alone with the Horrors. This is a compendium of the short fiction that he put out from 1961 to 1991. I've read a number of these stories. I actually have this book on Kindle, but I figured, especially with a short story collection, I like to have a physical copy because I like to flip. It's easier to kind of flip through it, and I don't usually always read the stories in sequence. This edition is from Headline. This is the UK edition that came out in 1994. So definitely excited to be diving back into some Ramsey Campbell short fiction because this is a dude, unlike a lot of the guys that were published by Zebra, this is a guy that could write. Even though, I don't know, he is a good writer, but I still find oddly that a lot of the times the writing is like a little tone deaf. He's not a musical writer. It's filled with imagery, but if you try to read it aloud, it sometimes is a little off. It's not as mellifluous as some other writers. But I mean, Ramsey Campbell, he's great, just gorgeous writing. So yeah. Okay, next up, we've got House Haunted. Now, I'm a big fan of that cover. This is by Al Sarantonio, and this one was put out by Bantam in 1991. Yeah, kind of sucky glare today. I apologize about that. Okay, next up, we've got a YA book put out by Zebra. This is Deadly Detention, written by Eric Weiner, another unfortunate last name. This was published by Zfave. which was an imprint of Kensington, just like Zebra, and I guess it was their like YA horror division back in the early '90s. This one came out in 1994, and great cover and great title there. I don't normally read YA, but this one, a teen slasher. It sounds fun, so why the hell not? Thought I'd check it out. Okay. Next up, we've got a book called Carrion. Carrion. Is it Carry On or Carry? I always said Carrion. I don't know. This was written by Gary Haynes and put out by Warner Books in 1994. I think this is a British author. I may be mistaken. But I kind of came across this and sounded interesting. So figured, why the hell not? Check it out. Okay. Next, this is a great title or cover here. We've got Cry for the Demon by Julia Grice. And this book was put out by Warner in 1980. And so there's a little comparison for you. Here's Warner in 1980 and Warner in 1994. I don't know. Did they go forwards or did they move backwards? You tell me. Okay. Keeping with the 90s, here we've got Moonfall by Tamara Thorne. This book was put out by Zebra in 1996. And Tamara Thorne, of course, also wrote under the pen name Chris Curry. I've got a few of those books, and I'll probably read those first. I don't know, but she seems like a great writer. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to checking it out. Okay, next up, this is an anthology of it for another holiday season, another holiday. Here we've got 14 Vicious Valentines, edited by those people right there. You can read that. And then this was put out by Avon in 1988. If you're curious, those are some of the people in the anthology. All right. Okay. So next up, we've got The Burning Ground. This was written by Medina Spray Nolan and put out by Pocket in 1987. And this sounds like kind of an interesting book. Yeah, pretty cool image there. Okay, next we've got Fairy Tale by Raymond E. Feist. This book was, this edition was put out by Bantam in 1989. Looks like it was first put out in 1988, and it looks like a fantasy, and it is on the spine. It says Bantam Spectra Fantasy. Although there are definitely horror elements. In fact, I was alerted to this book in an old issue of Fangoria that they reviewed it. Actually, they didn't give it the strongest review, but the review actually it piqued my interest and sort of made me kind of look into it. And so I figured, what the hell? It looks interesting, and I do like dark fantasy and fantasy that blends horror elements. So yeah, thought I'd check it out. Okay, just a few more here. We've got When a Darkness Falls by Paul Zindel. This book, this edition was put out by Bantam in 1985, though it was first published possibly in hardcover in 1984. And, yeah. Very generic title and cover, actually. But, okay, next up, we've got Stigma by Bill Clendenin. That name sounds familiar. I might have shown another book of his, or I might have shown this one from his. I don't know. I don't think I did. This book was put out by Bantam in 1988. And I don't know, that's a pretty cool cover, I think. It looks more like an earlier 80s cover to me than 88. Little throwback. Yeah. Looks pretty cool. And finally, because I love my creepers, and I love my creeper horror, this is The Lurker. Now, I know I've shown another edition of this book, but I like this edition much better. I love that cover of that creep, that titular Lurker right there. This was written by James V. Smith Jr., and this edition was put out by Dell in 1989. You gotta love an image of just like some ugly, deformed man just creeping up outside a window, looking through like a broken window. That's very intriguing. Love it. So yes, The Lurker, rounding it out. So that's it, guys. That's a little mailbox update. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you guys are having a good October. I will have my first sort of Halloween-themed horror book review coming out shortly, like in the next couple of days. It's actually a reread, and I don't normally do that, but I thought this book merited a reread because it's amazing. So look out for that, and I got some other special videos planned this month. So anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Have a good one, and I will catch you next time. Peace.